When the guy from AC/DC said whole lot of rosy, he meant whole lot of rosé. It's a song about wine. Where are the boys? Let's do that morning roundup. Classic D20 bank in transparent but translucent, let's be honest. Pair of Moais, sleek, elegant, and compact. Einstein. And of course, the skull wastebasket. You know, I was thinking, Einstein here is a pretty good example of something. So it's probably slightly boring for you guys just to see me like cranking out Einsteins basically every day. But like, my Einstein is one of my most profitable things I've ever made. So in other words, the boring thing is the thing you make money with. Some people are always just craving novelty. And if you really prioritize novelty, you're not gonna make any money, because as soon as you got a big product, you're gonna be making that thing. You're gonna be making that thing over and over. And speaking of over and over, D20. And yet again, a D20 messed up. What is it? What is it with this model? Over and over, D20. Over and over, D20. This one turned out really good, actually. We're gonna get pictures of this guy and do a bunch of other stuff, but it is coffee o'clock. Pretty nice out today. A little bit dreary, but pretty nice. By the way, I did a little something crazy last night. We are taking a trip, and we are taking a trip on the 5th to the 6th to Tyler, Texas. So I have been to Tyler a few times, and they have a lot of thrift stores. Like, it's the second coming. Actually, I have no idea what that analogy doesn't even work. But yes, it's been a real good month. Business hasn't really slowed down that much, even though it's after Christmas. So we can go a little bit next level. Not doing anything crazy, but I got a cheap hotel. We're gonna drive there the day before, and then we are gonna thrift it up for like a whole day. So we're doing that in about a week, and the entire Gratitude gang is coming with me, baby. DUNKINRUN, Dunkin' Run, Dunkerly Hills. That's where I want to dunk. Dunkin' and Dunkerly Hills. Don't be afraid. What you're about to see is considered safe. You trusted a man you do not fully understand. Custom project for somebody. We're gonna take some pictures and make this a product. No, we're not giving this away, but it will be for sale. So if you really want to mupp it, I can customize the colors and stuff. We can make it happen. Mail guy. Time to give away the Moai. We're gonna make a listing. We're gonna use eRank, of course, to optimize it, and that's what we're doing right now. We got our pictures, very nice. The mailman came, and I was checking my mail, and a guy named Patrick sent me a sticker for the back of the TV. So here is your shout out, Patrick. There you go. Send me your stickers, people. Okay, here's something interesting. So I'm doing research for the Moai, and the first character head-shaped headphone, I believe, was introduced by me. I think the first ever that I know of was introduced by me. And the first headphone stand, like I said, in the shape of a character or historical figure, was this one, this Moai. And eRank gives you a date. So I did that on March 1st, 2019. So it's almost been 6 years. So that's the challenge. If anybody can find a headphone stand that was like in the shape of a character, not just like a generic, head. If anybody can find one that was introduced before March 1st, 2019, then it means that I'm not the person who invented this product category. But I'm pretty sure, I remember looking through listings and trying to find out if anybody had done this before at the time. And as far as I know, I was the first person on earth to do that. Or at the very least in like 3D printing space. Like maybe there were people carving them or something, but as far as I know, I think I was number one. So yeah, it's cool to just see the date there, because Etsy actually doesn't show you the date that you created a listing. So I haven't seen that in a really long time. I was just thinking about the phrase rearing to go. Is that like from horses, you know, where they like rear up? Is that where that comes from? Got a whole bunch of keywords. These all did pretty well. Description is full of keywords, good stuff. Title has a lot of the best keywords in it. And I think this is about as optimized as I can make it. So let's just launch this thing. I really debated letting this one be available because it's a design that could be really, really big. But you can get your very own Moai for only $5. First link in the description. If you want to support the channel, you want to get, I mean, look at this thing, it's so cool. Make your own, any size you want, $5, no supports needed, just prints like a dream. The artist formerly known as Print. I may actually scale this down and sell smaller versions. I think it's a pretty cool design. Nice sharp features and stuff, you know, came out real nice. See, I don't do ad reads on this channel, and I would really love to never do that. So I kind of do my own, and this is it. You know, we're not going through some sketchy, like, ooh, what is this product? Does it really work? A lot of that stuff that they read on podcasts, like it's kind of fake, or it's not exactly what they say it is, or some of them are outright scams. There's this one that's like a piano teacher guy, and apparently there's this whole Scientology scam or something involved with it. I may be remembering that slightly wrong, but if I'm kind of sponsoring my own show, you know it's legit. There's nothing hidden, there's nothing weird going on, right? It's not like you're giving money to some corporation that's maybe doing something bad or ripping people off. It's just a download. It's just a 3D download instantly. You got it. So I won't go on and on forever, but I just want to say it's $5 and it's completely honest. Nothing weird, no funny business. Just some serious Moai energy. Okay, before we get into packaging and stuff, we're going to do our daily clean out of the new area. If you want blood, you've got it. See what we got here. Here's a little bit of a lore drop, just something minor. A lot of you might remember that my best friend growing up died of a heroin overdose. This is a newspaper from 2006. You'll notice it says Kokomo Tribune. That is his sister right there. She was part of this big kung fu school, and they did this whole thing about training people to protect themselves and stuff. And yeah, I kept this the whole time. Somebody might remember me saying that he got in a really big wreck and almost died, which is how he got on opiates, which is how he became broke, which is how he got on illegal opiates. And she was in the car with him as well. She's still alive and actually doing really well, so that's nice. But she wasn't injured as badly as him. But yeah, we're not gonna throw that away. So that's kind of mixed in with some old kitchen stuff. I cleaned out a storage unit a while back, and I think a lot of this stuff I can throw away. It's not particularly special to me. Here's slightly more lore. My dad died in 2005, which is of course about when all this stuff is from. And this was his CD collection. Longtime viewers might remember me saying that he was a composer. He was in the Marine Band and then later the Navy. And he composed the music for the opening of the Reagan Library. He played for such luminaries at private events, people like Newt Gingrich and things like that. A couple famous people. I honestly wasn't paying attention when he used to tell me about this stuff. But yeah, it's a lot of classical music. You can see that's Beethoven right there. Some other stuff, the Carpenters, Kansas, which is a great band, of course. These are a lot of like hand-signed things that he burnt, and I never threw any of this away. Has a bunch of CDs of some music he composed for this church. I've never even listened to this. Maybe at some point I will. But yeah, all that's to say, we're not throwing this away either. Fun fact, a lot of this stuff was packed with clothing at the time. And so I have some vintage shirts and stuff that I literally wore in high school. This was the peak of comedy in 2005. Some of this stuff looks like something House would wear, you know, House MD. And that's because this is the era that was from. Another bit of a lore item. I went on my senior trip to Chicago. This is what hats looked like in 2004. And here is my Jason's Deli badge. And you can see this is covered with pins. So my best friend's mom growing up actually got indoor smoking outlawed. And that was a huge campaign. So we've got a little something from there. There are really good stories behind a lot of these. Some of these guys were heads of my ministry school, and we made fun of them with buttons. And these are inside jokes that are very hard to explain. Blatant Napoleon Dynamite there. And I almost threw away something kind of big. Yes, this is from the set of Dr. Phil. I'm sure you can order stuff like this online nowadays. This is the real thing. So here's a little failed experiment. I had an idea to make cheaper packing material by taking cardboard and shredding it with paper shredders, which sounds crazy, but it actually does work. The only problem is the blades get really dull. So that didn't work out. But this is a thing I do with my business. I try little things that could actually make a real big difference. And if it doesn't work out, this is like a $10 paper shredder. So throwing away stuff. Looks like somebody got cheesed by the cops. We're almost at the bottom here. Check this out though. I forgot I had this. Look at this big old cutting board. This was like right in the era when they started having these little trench things around the cutting boards. Man, so many good memories. I used to smoke briskets and put it on here. I think we're keeping it. I don't want to hold on to too many things, but I've got a couple of gems in here. Well, here we go. Made a pretty good little dent. This is starting to look like almost habitable. Well, that was good. I'm gonna find a safe place to store this. But let's get back into some stuff. Let's do the big Sharky here. David Bowie, waste basket. Dorothy can. Time to do the big Smilodon skull. Let's package this guy real quick. We are going to have to get pretty creative with that hair. Couple of Moais, couple of sports. Little froggy boy, Einstein. Another Moai, the big old 6-inch pug, White a David. Now for the owl thing. Very small pug boy. Time to do this D20. We got a bunch of stuff ready. Let's show you the before. We got a couple Moais. These guys are going blue. Big red Moai. This is going to be a sunset fade right here. Traditional shark colors, black and white fade, another black and white fade, 2 solid white, and that's going to be orange. And these guys, lastly, going bronze. And after, we got Stony Moais, we got Blue Boys. We ran out of red, but it got mostly done. We got the sunset fade. Yep. You know the burrito place? I gave one of these to the burrito guy one time because he forgot to charge me. And he hung it up in his home. Be cool to see pictures of that, but I probably never will. This is a shark, black and white stuff. Also ran out of white, but those aren't even due to ship yet. Orange and some bronzes. It's Tuesday. We put the big Moai up for the new product, and tomorrow we're gonna get this guy pictured and taken pictures of. That didn't make any sense. It's late here. I'm gonna get pictures of this and then list it. Whew. Well, that's probably about enough for today. Ugh. Well, I guess I have a lot to be grateful for today. We're making some progress on cleaning out the room. It's not even gonna take that long. It's gonna be really fun to arrange all the stuff and kind of make it more efficient and stuff. I'm actually kind of looking forward to all that. Got some new products coming down the pike. It's gonna be really good. I think some of this stuff's gonna be really big. I think people are gonna like the Moai. Feeling pretty good about everything. Let's read some Discord. Grench 329. I've never actually said his name before, but he contributes a lot actually. Consumed by a sinkhole wasn't on my bingo card. This is my favorite slice of life anime. This is in response to the previous episode, of course. Space Brain, previously featured on the show, asks, real good question. What made you get out of vending? Seems like it would be much easier to keep old machines running if you can 3D print parts or add your own card reader. Maybe now you can 3D. He seems to think that this was something I didn't do that long ago. My vending business was like 12 years ago and it was on the other side of the country. So it is interesting. I guess the basic question there is what made you get out of vending? So, man, I never know how much story to tell. So, kind of on the way down to total homelessness is when the vending machine business kind of crashed. I basically got to a point, and I don't even know how to summarize this. Yeah, there's so much to say, but the first thing is I didn't really know that much about business. Now, I did grow my vending business at its peak to about 100 locations, or it wasn't 100 locations, I had like 100 machines, something like that. So it was probably in the top dozen vending businesses in Charlotte, North Carolina. But like, I started it sort of in the Great Recession. This was like 2010. Obviously, the crash of 2008 happened and the economy was horrible. And this was the golden era of buying stuff off of Craigslist. So I got so many machines and locations and stuff for relatively cheap and put together a vending empire, basically. You know, reinvested the profits and all that. And it was very easy to do. Everybody was trying to sell off their machines or locations. Nobody wanted their like 600-pound Pepsi machine anymore. So it was very easy to get stuff. So yeah, I did that for several years and things were going really good. But then the economy eventually started getting better. And I kind of realized my entire business was based on the fact that the economy was horrible. So suddenly I had competition because once people get a little bit of money, a lot of people want to like get a vending location, or they know that person at the mechanic shop that you just barely know. And so like their buddy is like, hey, can I put a vending machine instead of the one you got in there? They're like, oh, we go way back. Sure, I'll just tell them to get it out of there. A lot of that started happening. And also, like I did a much better job than average when it came to stocking the machines and stuff like that. But there's a lot of there's so much stuff I could talk about. There's so much basic stuff I didn't know about business itself because I knew nothing about business. Like I was raised in a family business. I guess I didn't know nothing, but I would do a lot of things very differently if I had them to do over now with with the experience I've got now. So basically, the more the business declined, the more I had to reduce my lifestyle, and eventually it just kind of collapsed because you just need money to buy supplies. It's like perfusing a vein or an artery. I think you perfuse arteries in medicine. You just have to have a certain amount to keep the entire system going. And if it gets too low, the patient has a heart attack. So that's part of my homelessness story. There's kind of more to it than that. It's also because I was about to get married and got really depressed because she broke off the engagement like right before we were supposed to get married. And that was really depressing, and that was like my first real relationship. And so I kind of also lost the will to do the business like I should, so it was just kind of horrible. That's the bottom line. Horribleness killed my vending business. Horribleness and inexperience. Interestingly, there was a lot of discussion about railway tracks. There's a bunch of comments here, but something I've kind of learned is in the UK, apparently, having a house near railway tracks is not even really a lower class thing. I think because people take the train, as in like, you know, people travel, like normal people travel on trains in Europe. So I guess the connotation is pretty different. Whereas trains here, you know, it's mostly like freight and stuff like that. So that was an interesting thing to learn. Some new comments here. The Scottish 3D, the guy that makes a little Chihuahua guy there. Yep, I didn't actually show you. The Scottish 3D says, what kind of terms do you use for custom work? Upfront payment, Venmo, run it through Etsy, etc., etc. Do you get the customer to approve the design before you start printing? Thanks. Great question. So in the early days, I did a bunch of things. Obviously, you kind of experiment and figure out what works and try to learn the lessons you can from what happens. For me, I do all upfront. I do not do customer approval. This is something I learned from graphic design. I have most of a graphic design degree. If you're gonna have customer input, you have to limit it, because you just get these people that suggest edits, then suggest edits, and suggest edits, and by the end of this, they've made something that looks so horrible, they don't want to pay for it. But the problem is, they're not going to take responsibility most of the time. They'll suggest a change and then you do it, suggest a change and then you do it. The thing looks horrible and then they don't want to pay for it. Because, like, if they could design their own thing, why would they be hiring you? It sounds harsh, and I don't mean it in a bad way, but most people are not creative. It's a little hard to remember that if you're a creative person, which probably a lot of you guys are. Like, most people don't have vision for anything or can't, you know, the world doesn't need a bunch of creative people. I mean, we're kind of a pain, right? So there are advantages and disadvantages to having that personality, but basically, you don't want to have a lot of customer input. So I've personally never done a custom order where the customer had to approve the design first. And I've done probably 200 custom orders, and essentially nobody complains. And if it seems like the person's gonna complain, I don't do the order for them. Here's the nugget you should take from this. Only sell to people who are like super enthusiastic and do not seem like they have a critical bone in their body, because you don't want to have to get customer input and you want to just get the money up front. Don't do that half and half stuff. I guess it's a judgment call, but sell to the enthusiastic and like nobody else. You want the customer, from a personality standpoint, to be as similar to a happy little puppy as possible. That's who you want to sell to. There was some discussion about trains after that. On YouTube, CSI3D says, thanks, you're doing great. Keep it going. Love the positivity. Sandingo says, the striped cup looks great. Thank you. Dude, Aldi's is the best. I don't shop at any other grocery store. Okay, good. I mean, it's been a while since I've been to Aldi's. I am looking forward to having the variety. Nacogdoches is not that big. For like one more, IAGMR says, grateful for quiet time to watch your vlog again. Unfathomably based. It's fun thinking about the vending business again. Sometimes I almost miss it. We just had like, you can't even imagine. At its peak, I had 3 storage units that were 10 by 20s. Just imagine it full of like cans and chips and just racks and racks of stuff. I kind of wish I had had these racks at the time, because they really would have been perfect. But yeah, very grateful for the comments. Really thought-provoking. I love these kinds of questions. So, write a comment below. Tell me what you're grateful for. Ask a question. Ask for feedback on anything. Tell me what you're enjoying about the show. Tell me what you want to see more of. What designs you like. etc. I'm trying to make products that are going to appeal to people, and getting feedback about the products does help me a lot, actually. So write down in the comments what you're grateful for and your feedback. I will probably give you a heart, probably give you an upvote. And remember, if you want to support the channel, first link in the description, download one of those Moais. It's a really cool design. You make it small, you make it large. You could probably make earrings out of it if that's your thing. I really appreciate that you guys tune in every day. And even if you only tune in once a week, it's fine. I'm not offended. This is a very welcoming, nurturing, encouraging place. And I appreciate the Gratitude Gang. We're gonna be going on a trip in about a week, and y'all are coming with me. So I'm looking forward to that too. I will see you on the next episode. Peace.